You are addicted to the announcement. You love telling people what you are going to do more than you love actually doing it. This stops today. Every time you speak about your plans, you leak the energy required to execute them. You satisfy your ego with cheap validation before you have earned a single result. The world does not need your promises, it needs your proof. This book is not a discussion, it is a directive. There is a war going on between your need for attention and your need for success. To win, you must go dark. You must kill the noise. You must learn the doctrine. Shut your mouth, do the work. Chapter 1. The Addiction to Announcement. You talk too much. That is the first hard truth you need to accept before we go any further. You are addicted to the announcement. You are addicted to the promise. You are addicted to the look in people's eyes when you tell them you are going to start a business, or lose 50 pounds, or write a book. You love the feeling of being seen as a winner before you have won a single battle. This stops today. Welcome to the first step of your transformation. This is not about learning a new skill. It is about unlearning a weak habit. We are going to perform surgery on your ego. We are going to cut out the need for attention so that the need for results can take its place. Most people believe that stating their intentions creates accountability. They tell their friends, "I'm going to run a marathon," thinking that the social pressure will force them to train. They are wrong. You are wrong. The science is against you and your own biology is sabotaging you. We need to talk about the dopamine trap. When you set a goal, your brain creates a tension. It creates a void between where you are and where you want to be. That tension is uncomfortable. That tension is necessary. That tension is the fuel that drives you to wake up at 4 a.m. and do the work. But here is what happens when you open your mouth. When you tell someone your goal and they say, "Wow, that's amazing, good for you," your brain releases a flood of dopamine. It gives you a chemical reward. Your brain registers that social validation as a win. It tricks your subconscious into thinking you have already accomplished the task. You stole the reward from your future self and gave it to your present self. And because you already got the reward, because you already got the dopamine hit, the tension is gone. The drive evaporates. You wake up the next morning and you don't feel like doing the work. Why would you? You already got the applause. Premature validation is the enemy of execution. Memorize that phrase. Burn it into your mind. Premature validation is the enemy of execution. Every time you speak about a plan that is not finished, you are sabotaging your own success. You are satisfying your ego with cheap praise instead of satisfying your soul with hard results. You have a choice. You can feel good now, or you can be great later. You cannot be both.
That is the trap. You are trading long-term glory for short-term comfort. You are trading a gold medal for a plastic participation trophy that you gave yourself just for talking. Stop talking. Stop announcing. Stop updating the world on what you are planning to do. The world does not care about your plans. The world only respects your proof. This brings us to the modern cathedral of mediocrity, social media. We need to address the social media lie. We need to talk about hustle porn. You know exactly what I am talking about. You scroll through your feed and you see it. The picture of the laptop next to a latte. The timestamp at the gym at 5 a.m. The motivational quote overlaid on a picture of a lion. This is not work. This is performance art. If you are taking a picture of your work, you are not working. You are acting. You are playing the role of a successful person for an audience that doesn't care. Real work is ugly. Real work is boring. Real work requires a level of focus that does not allow for camera angles and filters. If you have the mental bandwidth to frame the perfect shot, check the lighting, write a caption, and monitor the likes, then you are not in deep work. You are in shallow distraction. If you are posting about the grind, you aren't grinding. You are performing. You are seeking validation for effort, not for outcome. And that is the mark of an amateur. Professionals do not need you to know they are working. Professionals disappear. They go dark. They emerge months later with the finished product. Amateurs post every step of the journey because they are insecure. They need the comments section to tell them they are doing a good job because they don't have the internal fortitude to believe it themselves. You don't need their permission. You don't need their likes. You don't need their little heart emojis to validate your existence. When you post your process, you are inviting the evil eye into your sanctuary. You are inviting judgment, skepticism, and distraction. You are opening the door to your workshop and letting the tourists walk in and touch your tools. Kick them out, lock the door. It's not about building a personal brand. It's about discipline. It's about having the discipline to delay the gratification of being seen.
Do not confuse motion with action. Taking a photo is motion. Writing the chapter is action. Posting about the gym is motion. Lifting the weight is action. You have a choice. Do you want to look busy, or do you want to be rich? Do you want to look fit, or do you want to be strong? Choose substance over style. Kill the performance. Finally, we must understand the physics of success. We must understand the energy leak. Think of your creative energy like the steam engine. This is an old metaphor, but it is the perfect metaphor. A steam engine works by building up immense pressure inside a boiler. That pressure seeks an escape. If you channel that pressure into the pistons, it moves the wheels. It drives the train forward. It creates momentum. It creates power. But the engine also has a whistle. If you open the valve to the whistle, the steam escapes. It makes a loud noise. It screams. It gets attention. Everyone looks at the train. But here is the physics. The steam you use to blow the whistle is steam you cannot use to turn the wheels. You cannot do both at maximum efficiency. Every time you talk about your project, you are blowing the whistle. You are letting off steam. You're releasing the pressure that you need to push through the hard days. You feel relieved after you talk about your problems or your goals, don't you? You feel lighter. That is the problem. You shouldn't feel light. You should feel heavy. You should feel pressurized. You should feel aggressive. You need that pressure. You need that agitation. That internal pressure is what pushes you through the wall when things get difficult. If you leak that energy into a conversation, you arrive at the work depleted. You gave your best performance to your friend over coffee instead of giving it to your business. That's the key. Keep the pressure inside. Let it build. Let it become uncomfortable. Let it drive you crazy. Use that insanity to attack the task. When you want to scream, work. When you want to brag, work. When you want to explain yourself, work. Close the valve. Stop the leak. So what is the instruction? What must you do right now? It is simple, but it is difficult. You must go on a verbal fast. For the next 30 days, you are forbidden from discussing your primary goal with anyone. No one, not your spouse, not your best friend, not your mother. If they ask you how things are going, you say, "Good, I'm working." and you change the subject. You will feel an urge to share. You will feel a burning desire to show them a draft or a sketch or a screenshot. Suppress it. Swallow it. Force that energy back down into your gut and use it to fuel the next hour of labor. Denial is a source of power. Deny your ego the snack it craves. Starve the distraction. Feed the beast. Premature validation is the enemy of execution. Say it again. Premature validation is the enemy of execution. You are done with the announcements. The press conference is over. The audience has gone home. The lights are out. It is just you and the raw reality of what must be done. You have built the walls. You have locked the door. Now you must learn to live inside the room you have created.
Chapter 2. Enter the Void. You have stopped talking. You have stopped posting. You have stopped looking for applause. Now look around you. It is quiet. It is lonely. There is no one here to clap for you. There is no one here to tell you that you are doing a good job. There is just you, the work, and the silence. Welcome to the void. Most people spend their entire lives trying to avoid this place. They fill their ears with podcasts, their eyes with television, and their minds with gossip just to avoid spending 5 minutes here. They are terrified of it. But you are going to live here. We need to define the void. It is a psychological space of absolute isolation where no external validation exists. It is the dark room where the film is developed. It is the cocoon, where the caterpillar dissolves before it becomes butterfly. It is the only place on earth where growth actually happens. You must learn to be alone with your labor. This is not a suggestion. This is a requirement. If you cannot be alone, you cannot be great. Greatness is not a team sport. The vision you have, the business, the body, the book, the mastery, it belongs to you and you alone. No one else can see it. No one else can build it. You have to pay a tax to enter this level of performance. That tax is loneliness. Loneliness is the tax you pay for greatness. If you are not willing to pay the tax, get out of the line. Go back to the crowd. Go back to being average. Average is safe. Average is crowded. Average is loud. But if you want what the 1% has, you must be willing to do what the 99% refuse to do. You must sit in the empty room and work until your fingers bleed. Why is this so hard? Why does the silence feel so heavy? We need to confront the fear of silence. You are terrified of silence because, in silence, you cannot lie to yourself. When there is noise, you can pretend. When you are talking to friends, you can exaggerate your progress. When you are scrolling through social media, you can numb your anxiety. The noise is a blanket you pull over your head to hide from the truth. But when the noise stops, the truth comes out. In the silence, you are forced to look at your life exactly as it is. You see the projects you didn't finish. You see the time you wasted. You see the gap between who you are and who you swore you would be. Noise is your distraction. Silence is your mirror. Memorize that. Say it to yourself when the anxiety rises. Noise is your distraction. Silence is your mirror. You don't like what you see in the mirror. That is why you reach for the phone. That is why you turn on the music. You are trying to break the mirror because it is showing you a reflection you are ashamed of. That's the key. You have to stop running from the reflection. You have to stare into it. You have to sit in that discomfort. You have to let the silence crush your ego. It hurts. It is supposed to hurt. That pain is not there to destroy you. It is there to instruct you.
It is telling you that you are not good enough yet. It is telling you that there is work to be done. It's not about comfort, it's about truth. You have a choice. You can turn the noise back on and continue living a lie, or you can stay in the silence and start changing the reflection. So, how do we do this? How do we survive the void? We do not just walk into it, we build it. We need to talk about constructing the walls. You must create a physical and digital fortress around your focus. You cannot rely on willpower. Willpower is a finite resource. It runs out. You need a system. You need walls. Here is your instruction. First, the physical walls. You need a space that is designated for the work and nothing else. It does not have to be a fancy office. It can be a corner of your kitchen table. It can be a desk in your basement. But when you sit in that chair, you are in the void. When you are in that chair, you do not eat. You do not check the news. You do not text. You work. Second, the digital walls. This is where most of you will fail. You are addicted to the dopamine of the notification. You need to sever that cord.
When you enter the void, your phone does not just go on silent. It goes in another room. It goes in a drawer. It goes off. If you can reach your phone without standing up, you have not built the wall. You have built a fence, and your addiction will jump over it in 5 minutes. Build the walls, lock the door, face the work. This is the mantra of the void. Build the walls, lock the door, face the work. When you first do this, when you first lock that door and sit in the silence, you will feel withdrawal. You will feel your hand twitching, reaching for a device that isn't there. Your brain will scream at you. It will tell you, check your email, there might be an emergency. Check the news, you might miss something. You don't need their permission. You don't need to know what is happening in the world. You need to create your own world. Let the anxiety burn. Let it sit in your chest. Do not relieve it. Transmute it. Take that nervous energy and pour it into the task in front of you. Deep work is not a flow state that happens by magic. It is a war. You have to fight through the first 20 minutes of boredom and agitation. You have to fight through the urge to escape. Most people quit at the 18-minute mark. They feel a little bit bored, so they open a new tab. They break the seal. The void collapses. The noise rushes back in, and they lose. You must go past the boredom. On the other side of boredom is brilliance. On the other side of the silence is the solution you have been looking for. You have to become comfortable with being unreachable. You have to be okay with people thinking you are dead. Let them text you. Let them call you. Let the messages pile up. You are not available. You are in the void. It's not about being rude. It's about being focused. You are reclaiming your time. You are reclaiming your mind. Every time you successfully block out the world for 2 hours, you get stronger. You build a callus on your mind. You teach your brain that you are in charge, not the device in your pocket. The void is where the magic happens. It is where the book gets written. It is where the business plan gets solved. It is where the body gets forged. Nothing of value was ever created in a distracted state. Nothing of value was ever created while multitasking. Noise is your distraction. Silence is your mirror. Look into the mirror. What do you see? If you stay in the void long enough, the image in the mirror starts to change. You start to see progress. You start to see momentum. You start to see a person who is capable of holding their ground. The silence stops being scary. It starts being sacred. You will begin to crave the void. You will begin to look forward to the moment you can lock the door and shut out the chaos. Because in the void, you are the king. In the void, you have total control. But there is a danger. You have built the walls. You have locked the physical door. You have turned off the phone. The room is silent. But even in the absolute silence, you still hear voices. You still hear the criticism. You still hear your mother, your teacher, your ex, your friends. They are not in the room, but they are in your head. They are watching you. They are judging you. You have isolated your body, but you have not yet isolated your mind. You have entered the void, but you brought guests with you. It is time to evict them. It is time to silence the final source of noise.
Chapter 3. Kill the audience in your head. You have locked the door. You have turned off the phone. You have entered the void. Physically, the room is empty, but mentally, the room is crowded. It is packed with people. You are sitting in that chair trying to work, but you are not alone. You brought your parents. You brought your high school teachers. You brought your ex-partner who said you wouldn't amount to anything. You brought your competitors. You brought society. They are all standing behind you, looking over your shoulder, watching what you do. And you are paralyzed. You are terrified of making a move because you are afraid of what they will think. You are performing for ghosts. We need to talk about the imaginary judges. This is the psychological delusion that ruins more potential than laziness ever could. You are living your life on a stage. Every time you write a sentence, every time you make a sales call, every time you lift a weight, you are subconsciously asking, do they see me? Are they impressed? Did I prove them wrong? You are working hard, but you are doing it for the wrong reasons. You are doing it to get a reaction out of people who are not even in the room. Here is the cold, hard truth that will set you free, but it will hurt your ego first. Nobody is watching, and nobody cares. Let that sink in. Nobody is watching, and nobody cares. You think people are obsessing over your failure? You think they are waiting for you to trip up? You are not that important. They are not thinking about you. They are thinking about themselves. They are thinking about their own bills, their own insecurities, their own dinner. While you are stressing out about how your new venture will look to your old college friends, those friends haven't thought about you in 6 months. You are suffering in an imaginary courtroom where you are the defendant, the prosecutor, and the judge. The jury box is empty.
You are directing a movie that no one is watching. You have a choice. You can keep dancing for an empty theater, or you can walk off the stage and get to work. The people you are trying to impress, most of them gave up on their dreams years ago. Why are you seeking the approval of people who have settled? Why do you value the opinion of a spectator? You don't need their permission. You don't need their understanding. But you crave it, and that craving is a sickness. This brings us to the second problem. Validation is weakness. You have been conditioned since childhood to seek a gold star. You did your homework, you got a star. You cleaned your room, you got a cookie. You have been trained to believe that effort requires a reward. Now you are an adult, and you are still looking for the cookie. You are still looking for someone to tell you, good job. If you cannot work without encouragement, you are weak. That is harsh, but it is true. If your fire goes out because no one is fanning the flames, then you never had a fire. You just had a spark, and sparks die. If you need a cheerleader, you will lose to the man who only needs a target. Think about your competition.
Not the fake competition you see on Instagram, but the real killers, the people who are dominating your industry. Do you think they call their mom every time they send an email? Do you think they need a round of applause for waking up early? No. They work in the dark. They work without praise. They work without feedback. They derive their satisfaction from the execution, not the reception. It's not about support, it's about discipline. Support is a luxury. Discipline is a necessity. If you have people who support you, that is a bonus. But you cannot build a foundation on a bonus. You must be able to function in a vacuum. You must be able to run on an empty tank of compliments. Stop showing your work to people who don't understand the mission just so they can pet your ego. When you ask for feedback from people who aren't in the arena, you aren't looking for critique. You are looking for a hug. You are looking for them to say, "It's okay, you're doing great. I am here to tell you, it is not okay, and you are not doing great. Not yet. And you never will be if you keep stopping the car to ask for directions from people who are walking." That's the key. Stop asking for directions from people who have never been where you are going. So, how do we kill these judges? How do we silence the ghosts? We adopt the orphan mindset. This is a brutal mental framework, but it is effective. I want you to imagine, for the duration of your work, that you have no family, you have no friends, you have no past, you have no one to impress, you have no one to fall back on. If you fail, no one is coming to save you. If you succeed, no one is coming to throw you a parade. You are an orphan in this world. When you adopt the orphan mindset, the pressure to perform vanishes. If no one is watching, you don't have to look good. You just have to be effective. You stop trying to be the successful son or the envied ex-boyfriend. You just become the machine. You are your own savior. There is a tremendous freedom in this. If you are your own savior, then you are the only one who gets a vote. Who cares if your parents don't understand your business model? They aren't saving you. Who cares if your friends think your new routine is obsessive? They aren't saving you. You don't need their permission. You need to ruthlessly cut the emotional tether to other people's opinions. This is a violent act. You have to mentally fire the audience. Close your eyes. Visualize the people whose opinions you fear the most. Put them in the front row of a theater. Now visualize yourself walking to the exit door, turning off the lights, and locking them inside. You are outside now. It is dark. It is quiet. You are free. When you sit down to do the work now, you are not doing it to prove them wrong. Proving them wrong is still about them. You are doing it because it is who you are. You are doing it because the work demands to be done. The man who works to prove a point is a slave to the people he hates. The man who works because it is his nature is a master of his fate. You have a choice. Be a slave to the ghosts, or be a master of the work. Nobody is watching, and nobody cares. Say it until you believe it. The liberation you feel when you realize you are insignificant to others is the fuel for your significance to yourself. You have emptied the room. The ghosts are gone. The cheerleaders are gone. The critics are gone. Now, you have a new problem. A problem that is entirely your own. You are staring at the blank page. You are staring at the empty gym. You are staring at the unwritten code, and you are freezing up. You are hesitating. Why? Because now that no one is watching, you have no excuse. You want to start, but you want it to be perfect. You are afraid that if you act, you might make a mistake. You were waiting for the perfect plan. You were waiting for the perfect moment.
You have killed the audience, but you are still trapped by your own standards. You think you need to be perfect to be worthy. You are wrong. You need to be messy. You need to be ugly. You need to destroy the idea of perfection before it destroys you.
Chapter 4. Ugly Action Beats Perfect Theory. The audience is dead. The room is quiet. The phone is in the other room. Now it is just you and the task. And yet you are still not moving. You are staring at the screen. You are staring at the barbell. You are staring at the business plan. You are waiting. You tell yourself you are strategizing. You tell yourself you are optimizing. You tell yourself that you have high standards, and you refuse to produce mediocrity. You call it perfectionism. I call it cowardice. We need to destroy the perfectionism excuse. Perfectionism is not a virtue. It is not a sign of high intelligence. It is procrastination in a tuxedo. It is fear dressed up as a standard. You are not a perfectionist. You are terrified. You are terrified that if you actually do the work, it won't be good enough. So instead of doing the work, you plan the work. Planning is just a sophisticated way of hiding from the work. Read that again. Planning is just a sophisticated way of hiding from the work. It feels safe to plan. It feels safe to research. When you are planning, you cannot fail. You cannot be judged. You exist in a theoretical world where everything goes right. But the moment you take action, you enter the real world. And in the real world, things break. In the real world, you might look stupid. You are protecting your ego at the cost of your future. You have a choice. You can have a perfect plan that produces 0 results, or you can have a messy, ugly, chaotic process that builds an empire. You cannot steer a parked car. You are sitting in the driveway, polishing the dashboard, adjusting the mirrors, checking the GPS, and the engine is off. You are going nowhere. Get the car moving. Scratch the paint. Hit a pothole. Just move. This brings us to the philosophy of the trash rep.
You are paralyzed because you think your first attempt needs to be a masterpiece. You think your first video needs to be viral. You think your first draft needs to be Shakespeare. Let me relieve you of that pressure right now. Your first rep is going to be trash. Your first video will be awkward. Your first article will be boring. Your first sales call will be a disaster. Your first workout will be weak. That's the key. It is supposed to be trash. You are trying to bypass the suck phase. You think you are too smart to be a beginner. You think you can research your way out of the awkward phase. You cannot. The only way out is through. We are going to embrace the sloppy first draft. The goal of the first rep is not excellence. The goal is existence. You cannot improve something that does not exist. A terrible page of writing can be edited into greatness. A blank page is nothing. A blank page is 0. It's not about quality. It's about volume. In the beginning, quantity produces quality, but only if you start. You need to get the bad reps out of your system. You have 1,000 bad drawings in your hand. Get them out so you can get to the good ones. You have 100 bad pitches in your mouth. Speak them so you can find the winning one. You don't need their permission to be bad. You need to give yourself permission to be bad. If you are waiting until you are ready, you will wait until you are dead. Ready is a fantasy. Ready is a lie you tell yourself to avoid the pain of starting. You must understand the difference
between motion and action. This is where smart people fail. This is where the intellectuals get crushed by the practitioners. Motion is planning, strategizing, and learning. Motion feels like progress. When you buy a domain name, that is motion. When you research the best diet plan, that is motion. When you talk to a mentor, that is motion. Action is the behavior that delivers an outcome. Writing the article is action. Cold calling the lead is action. Eating the broccoli is action. Doing the squat is action. Here is the trap. Motion feels like work, but it produces no result.
You can spend 6 months researching the perfect gym routine. You can watch every video on YouTube about hypertrophy. You can buy the best shoes. You can realize you need a specific type of protein powder and spend 3 days reading reviews. You feel busy. You feel like you are into fitness, but you haven't lifted a single pound. Your muscles have not experienced a single second of tension. You are in motion, but you are not in action. Meanwhile, there's a guy who knows nothing about science. He goes to the basement, picks up a heavy rock, and lifts it until he is tired. He does this every day. In 6 months, who is stronger, the researcher or the lifter? Stop researching. Lift the weight. Research is the drug of the procrastinator. It makes you feel productive while you are actually stagnant. It is a defense mechanism. You tell yourself, I just need to learn a little bit more before I start. No, you don't. You know enough. You know that to lose weight, you eat less and move more. You know that to write a book, you type words. You know that to make money, you sell a product. The rest is just detail. The rest is just noise. It's not about knowledge. It's about execution. You are drowning in information and starving for action. You are the most informed person in the room and also the poorest. You are the smartest person in the room and also the weakest. That's the key. Intelligence without action is just trivia. So, what is the instruction? What must you do? You must lower the bar. Yes, you heard me. Lower the standard for the start. Make the hurdle so low that you can step over it. Do not try to write a chapter, write a sentence. Do not try to run a marathon. Put on your shoes and walk to the mailbox. Do not try to build a corporation. Sell one item to one person. Make the action so small and so ugly that your ego doesn't have time to get involved. Bypass the perfectionism by aiming for bad. Tell yourself, I am going to write a terrible paragraph right now. I am going to do a sloppy set of push-ups right now. When you aim for bad, the fear disappears. The paralysis breaks. And once you are moving, once the car is rolling, then you can steer. Then you can optimize. Then you can perfect. But you cannot steer a parked car. You have to accept that your early work will be invisible. It will be ignored. It might even be mocked. Good, let it be. You are not building a reputation yet. You are building a habit. Quantity produces quality, but only if you start. Every master was once a disaster. The difference between the master and you is that the master was willing to be a disaster for a long time. You quit because you weren't a master on day one. You have a choice. You can protect your ego and remain a theorist, or you can destroy your ego and become a practitioner. Ugly action beats perfect theory every single time. A C+ plan executed with violence and speed will crush an A+ plan that sits in a drawer. Get it out of the drawer. Throw it on the table. Break it. Fix it. Use it. Stop polishing the rifle and pull the trigger. You have killed the audience.
You have overcome the paralysis of perfectionism. You are finally moving. You are finally taking action. The wheels are turning. But now that you are moving, a new enemy appears. It is not an internal enemy like fear or doubt. It is an external enemy. It is a weapon designed by the smartest engineers in the world to stop you. You are trying to focus, but the world is screaming for your attention. The algorithm is hunting you. The notifications are calling you. You have started the engine, but now you must learn to drive through a minefield of distractions without taking your eyes off the road.
Chapter 5. Starve the distractions, feed the beast. You have started the car. The wheels are turning. You have killed the imaginary audience, and you have overcome the paralysis of perfectionism. You are finally in motion. But now you are driving through a war zone. You are under attack. You do not see the bullets, but you feel the impact. Your bleeding time. Your bleeding focus. Your bleeding potential. The enemy is in your pocket. It is on your desk. It is vibrating against your leg right now. We need to talk about the algorithm. You think your phone is a tool? You are wrong. Your phone is a slot machine. It is a weapon designed by the smartest engineers in Silicon Valley with one specific goal: to addict you. They have spent billions of dollars studying human psychology, studying dopamine loops, and studying your specific behavior to keep you scrolling. The algorithm is the enemy. They are not providing you with a service. They are harvesting your attention. Your attention is the product. They sell your eyes to advertisers. Every time you open that app, you are punching the clock for them. You are working for them. You are making them rich while your own dreams rot in the corner. Every second you scroll is a second you steal from your own empire. Read that again. Every second you scroll is a second you steal from your own empire. You claim you don't have time to work on your business. You claim you don't have time to go to the gym. Open your screen time settings. Look at the number. 2 hours? 4 hours? 6 hours? That is the time you stole from your future family. That is the time you stole from your bank account. You traded your financial freedom for a meme. You traded your physical health for a 15-second video of a stranger dancing. It is a bad trade. It is the trade that only a fool would make, and you make it every single day. You have a choice. You can be the consumer or you can be the creator. You can watch other people live their lives or you can build your own. You cannot do both. The algorithm is engineered to steal your financial future. It numbs you. It pacifies you. It keeps you docile. A distracted man is a weak man. A distracted man is easily controlled. A distracted man never builds anything that threatens the status quo.
If you want to win, you must declare war on the distraction. This requires radical elimination. Most of you are trying to limit your distractions. You are trying to use willpower to not check your phone. This is a losing strategy. You cannot fight a supercomputer with willpower. You will lose. You need to go nuclear. You need to remove the option entirely. If it does not help you build, it is helping you fail. There is no middle ground. There is no innocent distraction. Go through your phone. Look at every single app. Ask yourself, does this app make me money? Does this app make me stronger? Does this app help me learn? If the answer is no, delete it. But I need it to stay connected. No, you don't. You need to stay focused. But I use it for inspiration. No, you don't. You use it for procrastination. You don't need their permission to disconnect. You don't need to be available 24/7. Being always available is a sign that your time has no value. High-value people are hard to reach. Low-value people are instantly accessible. Which one are you? This applies to people too.
You have toxic relationships in your life that are draining your battery. People who only call you to complain. People who only text you to gossip. People who distract you from the mission. Cut them off. That's the key. You have to be ruthless. You have to treat your focus like it is the most expensive resource on earth, because it is. You would not leave your front door open and let thieves walk in and take your television. So why do you leave your mind open and let the world walk in and take your focus? It's not about being antisocial. It's about discipline. It is about protecting the asset. You are the asset. Your mind is the factory. If the factory is full of tourists, production stops. Clear the factory floor. Once you have starved the distractions, you must feed the beast. The beast is your obsession. The beast is your potential. We are told by society that we should seek balance. We are told to have a well-rounded life. We are told to work a little, play a little, relax a little. Society is lying to you. Look at the greats. Look at Kobe Bryant. Look at Elon Musk. Look at Michael Jordan. Look at anyone who has achieved elite status in any field. Were they balanced? No. They were obsessed. They were monomaniacal. They had a singular, terrifying focus on one thing. Obsession is the only vehicle that arrives at elite results. You cannot dabble your way to greatness. You cannot be a part-time champion. You have to go all in. You have to become obsessed with the process. This is what monomaniacal focus looks like. It means you wake up and the first thought in your head is the mission. You go to sleep and the last thought in your head is the mission. Every conversation, every meal, every hour is calibrated toward the goal. People will call you crazy. They will tell you to relax. They will tell you that you are working too hard. You don't need their permission. They want you to relax because your intensity makes them uncomfortable. Your obsession highlights their laziness. Your drive highlights their drift. You have a choice. You can be normal or you can be a legend. Normal people seek balance. Legends seek obsession. To feed the beast, you must give it hours of uninterrupted deep work, not 20 minutes here and there, hours, blocks of time where the world does not exist. When you lock into that zone, when the phone is gone, the door is locked, and the mind is singular, you enter a state of hyper-productivity. You get more done in 4 hours of monomaniacal focus than the average person gets done in 4 weeks of distracted motion. That is how you win. You don't win by being smarter. You win by being more focused. The person who can sit in a room for 6 hours and stare at a problem without checking their phone will always defeat the genius who gets distracted every 10 minutes. Focus is the new IQ. Starve the distraction, feed the beast. Every time you ignore a notification, you are feeding the beast. Every time you delete a game from your phone, you are feeding the beast. Every time you say no to a night out so you can get up early and grind, you are feeding the beast. Let the beast grow. Let it consume you. Let it take over. Because when the beast takes over, the results become inevitable. The success becomes automatic. But be warned, when you strip away the distractions, when you turn off the constant dopamine drip of the internet, you are left with the work itself. And here is the secret that no one tells you about the work. It isn't always exciting. It isn't always a montage of glory. In fact, most of the time it is incredibly, painfully dull. You have cleared the noise. You have focused your mind. Now you are staring at the task, and it looks like a mountain of gray rock. It looks boring.
And this is where the weak surrender. This is where the tourists go home. They wanted the glory, but they didn't want the grind. You are not a tourist. You are a professional. And professionals know how to handle the gray.
Chapter 6. Embrace the boring. You have stripped away the distractions. You have killed the audience in your head. You have silenced the notifications. Now you are left with the work. And let's be honest about what you are looking at. It isn't sexy. It isn't exciting. It isn't a cinematic adventure. It is a spreadsheet. It is a blank page. It is a heavy weight. It is a cold call script. It is the same thing you did yesterday, and it is the same thing you will do tomorrow. It is boring. And this is where you break. Most people can handle the fear. Most people can handle the doubt. But very few people can handle the boredom. Boredom is the silent killer of dreams. You crave novelty. You crave excitement. You have been sold a lie that your passion is supposed to feel like a fireworks display every single day. We need to destroy the myth of passion. You see the interviews with successful billionaires, athletes, and artists. They talk about following their passion. And you interpret that to mean they are having fun 24/7. You are wrong. They are not talking about the emotion of excitement. They are talking about the commitment to the mission. Here is the reality that the highlight reels don't show you. Success is doing the same boring thing every day for 10 years. Read that again. Success is doing the same boring thing every day for 10 years. If you want to be a master pianist, you don't play concerts every day. You play scales over and over again. Boring, repetitive scales. If you want to build a massive company, you don't ring the bell on Wall Street every day. You sit in meetings. You fix operational problems. You look at data. If you are looking for entertainment, go to the circus. If you are looking for success, go to the grind. You have a choice. You can chase the thrill of the new, or you can embrace the power of the boring. The people who chase the thrill are the ones who start 10 different businesses in 10 years and finish none of them. They get excited about the idea of the business, but the moment they have to do the actual work, the accounting, the hiring, the logistics, they get bored. They say, "I lost my passion." No, you didn't lose your passion. You lost your discipline. You ran out of dopamine, and you didn't have the character to keep moving without it. It's not about passion, it's about discipline. You need to understand that the grind is colorless. We have all seen the movie montages. The hero decides to change his life. Energetic music plays. We see him lifting weights, studying late at night, running in the rain. The camera cuts quickly between shots. In 3 minutes, he transforms from a loser to a champion. That is a movie. That is not your life. In real life, there is no music. There are no quick cuts. The montage takes 5 years, and it is gray. You have to visualize the work as a long, flat, dusty road. There is no applause. There is no scenery. It is just you and the repetition. This is called the plateau. The plateau is where 99% of people quit. They work hard for a week, they see a little progress, and then nothing happens. They hit the flat line. They keep working, but the results don't seem to change. They get bored. They think something is wrong. That's the key. Nothing is wrong. The plateau is not a sign of failure. It is a sign of foundation.
You are pouring concrete. Pouring concrete is not exciting. It takes a long time to dry. But if you don't let it dry, if you get bored and walk away, you can never build the skyscraper. Fall in love with the plateau. You must learn to find peace in the repetition. You must learn to find joy in the monotony. You have to be the type of person who can do 100 push-ups, look at the floor, and say, "One more." Not because it's fun, but because it is required. You don't need their permission to be boring. In fact, if your life looks exciting to everyone else on Instagram, you are probably not working hard enough. Real work doesn't look good on a camera. Real work looks like a person sitting in a chair, typing for 6 hours. Real work looks like a person eating rice and chicken out of Tupperware for the 500th time.
Stop trying to make your life a movie. Make your life a machine. And to build that machine, you must understand the difference between discipline and motivation. Motivation is for children. Discipline is for adults. Motivation is a feeling. It is an emotion. It comes and goes like the weather. Some days you wake up and the sun is shining and you feel motivated. Great, enjoy it. But what about the days when it rains? What about the days when you are tired, sad, or just flat? If you rely on motivation, you only work when you feel like it. And if you only work when you feel like it, you will lose to the person who works every single day, regardless of how they feel. Motivation waits for a feeling. Discipline does the work anyway. You say, "I'm just not motivated today." So what? Who cares? The work does not care about your feelings. The market does not care about your mood. The weights do not care if you are tired. You think the soldier charges into battle because he feels motivated? No, he does it because he is disciplined. He does it because he has orders. You need to give yourself orders. Stop asking yourself, "Do I want to do this?" That is the wrong question. Of course you don't want to do it. You want to sleep. You want to eat cake. You want to watch TV. Your brain is wired for comfort. Stop consulting your feelings. Your feelings are weak. Your feelings are liars. It's not about feeling, it's about function. Does the car ask if it feels like driving? No. You turn the key, the spark fires, and the engine turns. You are the machine. Turn the key. Start the work cold. Do not wait for the spark. Do not watch a motivational video to get hyped up. That is mental masturbation. It is fake energy. Just start. Sit down, open the laptop, type the first word, lift the first weight. Action creates momentum. You don't get motivated to work. You work to get motivated. The feeling comes after the action, not before. You have a choice. You can be a slave to your moods, or you can be a master of your actions. The amateur works when he is inspired. The professional works when he is not. Embrace the boring. Embrace the suck. Embrace the gray. When you are bored, you are winning. When you are doing the repetition that others refuse to do, you are winning. When you are on the plateau and you refuse to leave, you are winning. The excitement is a distraction. The boredom is the path. If you can survive the boredom, you can have the life that everyone else only dreams about. But you have to pay the price. And the price is doing the same thing over and over again until you become undeniable. You are in the plateau now. You are doing the reps. You are embracing the boring. But here is the hardest part about the plateau. You are working. You are grinding. You are disciplined. But you don't see the results yet.
You look in the mirror and you look the same. You look at your bank account and it hasn't moved. You look at your stats and they are flat. You are putting in the effort, but the world isn't giving you the feedback. You feel like you are digging a hole and getting nowhere. You are wrong. You are not digging a hole. You are planting a seed, and seeds grow in the dark.
Chapter 7. The Power of Invisible Progress. You are doing the work. You are waking up early. You are grinding through the boredom. You have embraced the plateau. But there is a voice in the back of your head that is screaming at you. It is screaming, where is the payoff? You look at your bank account. It hasn't moved. You look at the mirror. You look exactly the same. You look at your subscriber count, your sales numbers, your manuscript. It feels like you are pushing a boulder up a hill, and the boulder isn't moving. You feel like you are wasting your time. You feel like a fool. You are not a fool. You are a farmer. And you need to understand the nature of the seed you have planted. We need to talk about the bamboo analogy. This is not a fable for children. This is a lesson in biology and business. Consider the Chinese bamboo tree. When you plant the seed, you have to water it and fertilize it every single day. If you miss a day, it dies. So you water it. Year 1 passes. You look at the ground. Nothing. There is no sprout. There is just dirt. Year 2 passes. You water it every day. You look at the ground. Still nothing. Just dirt. Year 3. Year 4. You've been working for 4 years. You have seen 0 results. Your neighbors are laughing at you. They say, "Why are you watering the dirt? Nothing is growing there. You are crazy." You don't need their permission to keep watering. You don't need them to see the sprout to know the tree is alive. Then comes year 5. In the 5th year, something happens. A tiny sprout breaks the surface. And then, in a period of just 6 weeks, the bamboo tree grows 80 feet tall. 80 feet in 6 weeks. Now, ask yourself the question, did the tree grow 80 feet in 6 weeks? Or did it grow 80 feet in 5 years? That's the key. It grew in 5 years. For 4 years, while nothing was visible above the ground, the tree was developing a massive, complex root system underground. It was building the foundation strong enough to support 80 feet of vertical growth. If it had shot up in the first year without those roots, the first wind would have snapped it in half. You are underground right now.
You are in year 2. You are in year 3. You are building the root system. You cannot see the results because the results are internal. They are structural. They are foundational. Most of you kill your success because you are impatient. You plant the seed, you water it for a week, and when you don't see a tree, you dig up the seed to see if it is growing. Do not dig up the seed. When you dig up the seed, you kill the process. You interrupt the nature of growth. You have to have the discipline to water the dirt when there is no evidence of green. It's not about visibility. It's about belief. You live in a society that is addicted to instant gratification. You click a button and a package arrives. You post a photo and a like appears. You swipe right and you get a date. You have been trained to expect the world to respond to you immediately. But success does not work like Amazon Prime. Greatness does not have same-day delivery. We must master delaying gratification. You are obsessed with the outcome. You are obsessed with the win. You check your analytics every hour. You weigh yourself every morning. You check the stock price every 10 minutes. Stop it. Do not look at the scoreboard. Look at the ball. In sports,
If a player stares at the scoreboard, he gets distracted. He gets anxious. If he is losing, he panics. If he is winning, he gets complacent. In both cases, he stops playing the game effectively. The score is a lagging indicator. The score tells you what happened in the past. The ball is the leading indicator. The ball is what is happening right now. You have a choice. You can stare at the scoreboard and stress yourself out, or you can keep your eye on the ball and execute the play. When you check your stats, when you check your likes, when you check your bank balance constantly, you are looking at the scoreboard. You are looking for validation. You are asking the world, did I win yet? Stop asking. The game isn't over. It's not about the score, it's about the execution. If you execute the play perfectly, if you water the bamboo every day, the score takes care of itself. The growth takes care of itself. You do not control the harvest, you control the planting.
This brings us to the final pillar of this chapter, trusting the process. I am not talking about faith in a religious sense. I am not asking you to hope for a miracle. I am asking you to understand physics. I am asking you to understand logic. Success is a result of cause and effect. It is a mathematical equation. If you input the work, the output is inevitable. Read that again. If you input the work, the output is inevitable. The universe is not a casino. It is a calculator. If you put in enough energy, enough focus, and enough time, the result must occur. It is a law of nature. The problem is, you do not control the timeline. You want the result on Tuesday. The universe might deliver it on Friday, or next year, or in 5 years. The timeline is not up to you. The labor is. Most people quit because the timeline doesn't match their expectation. They say, I worked hard for 3 months. Why aren't I rich? Because the equation isn't finished yet. You are trying to negotiate with the math. You are trying to bargain with reality. You cannot bargain with the soil. You cannot scream at the bamboo to grow faster. You just have to water it. This is the hardest discipline of all. It is the discipline of working in the dark. It is the discipline of sweating without applause. It is the discipline of believing in a future that you cannot yet see. You don't need their permission to believe in your own equation. Your friends will tell you to quit. They will say, it's been 2 years, maybe you should get a real job. They are looking at the surface. They see dirt. They don't see the roots. If you listen to them, you will stop watering. And if you stop watering, the roots die. And if the roots die, the 80-foot growth never happens. You have to know something they don't know. You have to know that the pressure is building underground. Think of an ice cube sitting in a room that is 20 degrees. You want to melt the ice. You start heating the room. 21 degrees, the ice is solid. 25 degrees, the ice is solid. 30 degrees, the ice is solid. 31 degrees, the ice is solid. You have been heating the room for an hour. You have used energy. You have done the work. But the visible result is 0. The ice looks exactly the same. Then the temperature hits 32 degrees, and the ice begins to melt. Was the work you did at 25 degrees wasted? No. It was storing the energy. It was invisible progress. That's the key. You are at 31 degrees right now. You are about to quit 1 degree before the melt. You are about to walk away one day before the bamboo shoots up. Do not move, do not flinch, do not stop. Let the doubt scream. Let the bank account stay flat for one more month. Let the critics laugh at your empty field. You know what is happening underground. You know the physics. You know the math. If you input the work, the output is inevitable. Keep watering the dirt. Keep looking at the ball. Keep heating the room. You have built the walls. You have starved the distractions. You have embraced the boring. And now you have learned to trust the invisible progress. You have built a root system that can withstand a storm. But roots are not enough. Roots hold you steady, but they don't attack the world. You have been patient. You have been stoic. You have been quiet. But the time for waiting is coming to an end. The bamboo is about to break the surface, and when it does, it must do so with explosive force. You have learned how to endure. Now you must learn how to attack. You have learned the defense of silence. Now you must learn the offense of action. Patience is over.
Chapter 8. Violence of Execution. We have talked about silence. We have talked about patience. We have talked about the long, slow growth of the roots underground. But do not mistake patience for passivity. Do not mistake silence for weakness. There comes a moment when the planning stops. There comes a moment when the waiting ends. There comes a moment when the bamboo shoots out of the ground and tears through the soil. That moment is now. We are shifting gears. We are moving from the defense of the mind to the offense of the hand. We are introducing a concept that separates the dreamers from the conquerors: the violence of execution. I am not talking about physical violence. I am talking about the intensity of your action. I am talking about the ferocity with which you attack a task. Most people approach their work like they're asking for a favor. They are tentative. They are polite. They knock on the door of opportunity and wait for an answer. You kick the door down. We need to talk about aggressive implementation. The universe operates on a law called entropy. Entropy means that everything naturally moves toward chaos and decay. If you leave a house alone, it rots. If you leave a business alone, it fails. If you leave your body alone, it gets weak. The universe is actively trying to stop you. Resistance is real. Inertia is real. If you approach a task slowly, resistance will crush you. If you stare at the cold water before getting in the shower, the water feels colder. If you stare at the phone before making the sales call, the phone gets heavier. Attack the task before it attacks your confidence. That is the rule. The longer you hesitate, the stronger the fear becomes. Hesitation feeds the enemy. Action kills the enemy. When you sit down to work, you do not ease into it. You strike. You attack the email. You attack the workout. You attack the problem with overwhelming force. It's not about preparation. It's about domination. You have a choice. You can be the prey, waiting for the day to happen to you, or you can be the predator, hunting the result. This brings us to your greatest weapon: speed. Speed is a weapon. In war, speed is the difference between life and death. In business, speed is the difference between profit and bankruptcy. In life, speed is the difference between a dream and a regret. You are too slow. You take 3 days to make a decision that should take 3 minutes. You take a month to launch a project that should take a weekend.
You are hiding behind analysis. You think you are being careful. You are not being careful. You are being fearful. Slow decision-making kills dreams. You are waiting for perfect information. You will never have perfect information. You are waiting for the traffic lights to all turn green before you leave the house. That will never happen. You must learn to operate in the fog. Velocity creates its own stability. Think about a bicycle. If you ride a bicycle very slowly, it wobbles. It is unstable. You are terrified of falling over. But if you pedal hard, if you generate speed, the bicycle becomes stable. You can take your hands off the handlebars and it will still go straight. Your life is wobbling because you are moving too slow. You are unstable because you are stagnant. That's the key. Speed stabilizes you. Action stabilizes you. If you make a mistake, speed fixes it. If you are moving fast, you can correct course. If you are standing still, you can't steer. I want you to adopt the 2-minute rule for decisions. If a decision is reversible, make it in 2 minutes or less. Should I post this video? Yes, post it. Should I buy this domain? Yes, buy it. Should I contact this client? Yes, call them. But what if I'm wrong? Then you will be wrong fast, and you will fix it fast. Being wrong fast is better than being right slow. The person who fails 10 times in a month will learn 10 times more than the person who fails once in a year. You don't need their permission to move fast. People will tell you to slow down. They will tell you don't rush. They say this because your speed exposes their lethargy. Your pace makes them look like statues. Ignore them. Run right past them. It's not about accuracy. It's about velocity. Finally, we must discuss the mindset required to sustain this level of aggression. We must talk about the zero-option mentality. You have a plan B. That is your problem.
You have a safety net. You have a backup plan. You tell yourself, if this business doesn't work, I can always go back to my old job. If I don't get in shape this year, I'll try again next year. As long as you have a plan B, your plan A is doomed. The safety net is not saving you. It is strangling you. It is removing the desperation you need to win. Humans are wired for survival. If your brain knows there is a safe way out, it will take the safe way out the moment things get hard. And things will get hard. You need to burn the boats. There is a famous story of a commander who landed his troops on enemy shores. He looked at his men and he saw fear. He knew that if the battle got difficult, they would retreat to the ships, so he gave the order, burn the ships. He forced them to watch their only exit go up in flames. Then he turned to them and said, "We win or we die." They won. You will find a way when you have no way back. You need to put yourself in a position where you must succeed. Commit to the deadline publicly. Invest the money you cannot afford to lose. Quit the job that makes you comfortable but miserable. Create a situation where failure is synonymous with death. When you have no option but to win, your brain unlocks a level of creativity and energy that you didn't know existed. It is the survival instinct. You have a choice. You can keep your safety net and stay mediocre, or you can cut the net and learn to fly. It's not about comfort. It's about survival. The violence of execution means you stop negotiating with yourself. When the alarm goes off, you do not negotiate. You get up. That is violence. When the task is hard, you do not negotiate, you do it. That is violence. When you are tired, you do not negotiate, you finish. That is violence. You treat your lethargy as an enemy soldier. You treat your procrastination as an intruder in your home. You do not reason with an intruder. You attack him. Get angry at your own weakness. Get aggressive with your own excuses. Stop being a philosopher. Be a warrior. Philosophers debate the meaning of the hill. Warriors take the hill. That's the key. Take the hill. You are moving fast now. You are making decisions. You are burning your boats. The momentum is building. The roots have burst through the soil and the bamboo is shooting into the sky. You are no longer invisible. The work is starting to show. The results are starting to manifest. And as the results start to come in, the world around you will start to react. The people who ignored you will start to watch. The people who laughed at you will start to whisper. They will want to know how you did it. They will want to know your secret. They will want you to talk. But remember the first rule. Remember the addiction to announcement. You have done the work in silence. Now that the victory is here, do you break the silence? Do you start bragging? Do you start celebrating? No. You let the results do the talking. You let the scoreboard light up while you stay in the shadows. Silence was your shield. Now silence becomes your sword.
Chapter 9. Let the results roar. You have done the unthinkable. You stopped talking. You entered the void. You killed the audience in your head. You embraced the boring, repetitive grind. You survived the invisible years of the bamboo root, and you executed with violence. Now, the tree is standing. The building is finished. The bank account is full. The body is shredded. The result is here. And now, you are facing the final trap. You are facing the urge to scream, "I told you so." You want to run back to the people who doubted you. You want to shove your success in their faces. You want to write the long Facebook post explaining your journey. You want the applause that you denied yourself for so long. Stop. Do not speak. The work is done, but the doctrine is not over. If you break your silence now to brag, you cheapen the victory. If you seek validation for the win, you prove that you were working for them all along. You must learn the art of the silent victory. You must learn to let the results roar. We need to discuss why silence spooks the herd. Look at the world around you. Everyone is noisy. Everyone is broadcasting every tiny movement. I'm grinding. I'm hustling. I'm making moves. They are terrified of being forgotten, so they make noise to remind the world they exist. When you are loud, you are predictable. Your enemies know where you are. Your competition knows what you are doing. You are safe because you are exposed. But when you go dark, when you disappear for 6 months, when you stop posting and start building, when you go quiet, they get nervous. They wonder where you went. They wonder if you quit. Then they wonder if you are up to something. Silence creates a vacuum, and their insecurity fills that vacuum with fear. They start to imagine that you are working on something massive, and they are right. That's the key. Your silence is a weapon of psychological warfare. Let them wonder, let them gossip, let them theorize. While they are wasting energy talking about you, you are focusing all your energy on burying them. You do not need to announce your arrival. A lion does not bark before it attacks. The thunder does not apologize for the storm. You have a choice. You can be the barking dog that everyone ignores, or you can be the silent predator that everyone respects.
The barking dog seeks attention. The predator commands it. This brings us to the reveal. There is a strategic way to show your success. Most people do it wrong. They show the process. They show the struggle.
They show the before picture before they have the after picture. Stop showing the construction site. Construction sites are ugly. They're messy. They're full of mud and scaffolding. No one is impressed by a hole in the ground. Do not show the blueprint. Show the skyscraper. Keep the tarp over the building until the ribbon is ready to be cut. Why? Because promises are cheap. The world is tired of promises. The world is tired of visionaries who have nothing to show but a PowerPoint deck. It's not about potential, it's about proof. When you reveal the finished product without having hyped it up beforehand, the impact is doubled. It is a shock to the system. It seems like magic to the outside world. They will say, "How did he do that so fast?" They will say, "Where did this come from?" They think it happened overnight because they didn't see the 5 years of darkness. They didn't see the bamboo growing underground. They didn't see the boring reps. Good. Don't explain it to them. Let it look like magic. You don't need their permission to remain mysterious. You don't owe them an explanation of your methods. You only owe them the undeniable reality of your result. If you have truly won, you don't need to use adjectives. You don't need to use hype. You don't need to use exclamation points. If you have $1 million, you don't need to say you are rich. The money exists. If you have a six-pack, you don't need to say you are fit. The abs exist. The result speaks a language that everyone understands. It is the language of reality. Words can be debated. Opinions can be argued. Results are facts. It's not about hype, it's about evidence. And this leads us to the final truth of this chapter. Respect is earned, not demanded.
You see people on social media every day demanding respect. They cry about haters. They complain that the algorithm is unfair. They beg for engagement. They are weak. If you have to tell people you are the king, you are not the king. Respect is not given to the loudest voice in the room. Respect is given to the most competent person in the room. Competence is the only currency that matters. You want to be heard? Be so good they cannot ignore you. This is the Steve Martin quote, and it is the ultimate law of the marketplace. If your product is the best, they will buy it. If your skill is the best, they will hire you. If your work is undeniable, the recognition becomes automatic. You are wasting your breath trying to convince people you are worthy. Stop convincing, start converting. Convert your potential into kinetic energy. Convert your talk into tangible assets. When you have the assets, the respect follows. The critic can argue with your philosophy. The critic can argue with your methods, but the critic cannot argue with the scoreboard. If you win 100 games in a row, it doesn't matter if the critic hates your shoes, you won. That's the key. Stop trying to win the argument. Win the game. When you let the results roar, you don't have to raise your voice. You can sit back. You can stay quiet. You can look them in the eye and say, nothing. Because your life is screaming so loud that they cannot hear their own doubts anymore. You have a choice. You can spend your life trying to manage your reputation, or you can spend your life managing your execution. If you manage the execution, the reputation manages itself. So here is your instruction for the moment of victory. When you cross the finish line, keep running. Do not stop to take a selfie. Do not stop to sign autographs. Do not stop to look back at the losers. Act like you have been here before. The amateur scores a goal and runs around the field screaming, tearing off his shirt, desperate for attention. The professional scores the goal, shakes his teammate's hand, and walks back to the center line. Why? Because the professional expects to score. The professional
is not surprised by his own success. Be the professional. Let the herd panic, let the critics gossip, let the world wonder. You are building a skyscraper in the dark, and when you finally take the top off, you won't have to ask them to look. They won't be able to look away. Your results will be so loud that your silence will be deafening. You have done it. You have won. You have the object of your desire. You have the status. You have the victory. But I have one final warning for you. A warning that most people ignore until it is too late. Reaching the mountaintop is hard, but staying there is infinite torture. You think the work is done? You think you can relax now? You think you own this success? You are wrong. You don't own anything. You are renting this life, and the landlord is coming to collect.
Chapter 10. The Doctrine of Eternal Maintenance. You have climbed the mountain. You have planted the flag. You have looked out over the horizon and seen the world beneath your feet. You have the money. You have the body. You have the status. You have achieved the goal you set out to achieve in Chapter 1. And now you think you are done. You think you can rest. You think you can put your feet up, open a bottle of champagne, and coast on your momentum for the rest of your life. You think the war is over. You are wrong. The war is never over. The war has just changed phases. If you stop now, you die. If you stop now, everything you built in the last 9 chapters will turn to dust within 6 months. The laws of physics do not take a day off. Entropy does not sleep. We must accept the hardest truth of all. We must accept the doctrine of eternal maintenance. There is a myth in our culture that success is a destination. We are taught that if we work hard, we will make it. And once we make it, we get to live happily ever after. This is a lie. There is no happily ever after. There is only work ever after. We need to understand that success is leased. You do not own your 6-pack abs. You rented them with the sweat you paid in the gym. The moment you stop paying the rent, the moment you stop lifting, the moment you start eating garbage, the landlord comes to collect. The abs disappear. The fat returns. The lease is canceled. You do not own your business empire. You leased it with your innovation and your focus. The moment you get lazy, the moment you stop innovating, the market comes to collect. Your competitors steal your customers. Your revenue drops. The lease is canceled. You do not own success. You lease it, and the rent is due every morning. Read that again. You do not own success. You lease it, and the rent is due every morning. You have to pay today for what you want to keep tomorrow. Yesterday's payment does not cover today's rent. The world does not care what you did 10 years ago. The world asks, what have you done for me today?
This is terrifying to the amateur. The amateur wants a finish line. The amateur wants to win the trophy so he can put it on the shelf and stop running. But you are not an amateur. You are a professional. And to the professional, this truth is not terrifying. It is liberating. You have a choice. You can view the rent as a burden, or you can view it as a privilege. The fact that the rent is due means you are still in the game. It means you are still alive. It means you still have the capacity to work. It's not about arriving. It's about remaining. Many people can get rich once. Very few stay rich. Many people can lose weight once.
Very few stay fit. Arriving is luck. Remaining is character. That's the key. Maintenance is harder than creation. When you are building, you have the excitement of the new. You have the dopamine of rapid growth. But when you are maintaining, you have the grind of the same. You have to do the same things that got you here, even though they are no longer exciting. You have to sweep the floor of the mansion you built. You have to polish the trophy you won. You have to reread the books you wrote. This requires a shift in your psychology. You must move from the finite game to the infinite game. A finite game has a beginning, a middle, and an end. A football match is a finite game. There is a clock. There is a final score. There is a winner. An infinite game has no end. There is no clock. There is no final winner. The goal of an infinite game is not to win. The goal is to keep playing. Life is an infinite game. Business is an infinite game. Health is an infinite game. You don't win at marriage. You keep working at it so the marriage continues. You don't win at health. You keep training so the body continues. If you try to play an infinite game with a finite mindset, you will lose. You will burn out. You will say, I reached my goal weight, why do I still have to diet? Because the game isn't over. You don't need their permission to stay in the game. You don't need a new goal to justify the work. The work is its own justification. You must stop asking, when will this be done? And start saying, this is who I am. The goal is not to finish the work. The goal is to become the type of person who does the work.
Identity is the ultimate fortress. If your identity is tied to a result, I am a millionaire, then you are fragile. If you lose the money, you lose yourself. But if your identity is tied to the action, I am a worker, then you are anti-fragile. Even if you lose the money, you still have the work. You can build it back. It's not about the asset, it's about the architect. The asset can be destroyed. The architect can always rebuild. So as we close this doctrine, we come to the final repetition. We have covered a lot of ground. We have torn down your ego. We have isolated you in the void. We have forced you to look in the mirror. Do not let these lessons fade. Do not let the noise creep back in. Remember Chapter 1, the addiction to announcement. Keep your mouth shut. Do not let the steam escape the engine. Remember Chapter 2, enter the void. Solitude is your sanctuary. Remember Chapter 3, kill the audience. No one is watching. No one cares. Remember Chapter 4, ugly action. Perfectionism is fear. The first rep is trash. Remember Chapter 5, starve the distractions. The algorithm is the enemy. Focus is the new IQ. Remember Chapter 6, embrace the boring. Fall in love with the plateau. Remember Chapter 7, invisible progress. Trust the roots, trust the math. Remember Chapter 8, violence of execution. Speed is a weapon. Burn the boats. Remember Chapter 9, let the results roar. Silence is power. Proof over promises. And now, Chapter 10, the work never ends. The work never ends. The silence never lifts. You just get stronger. This is not a curse. This is the blessing. Most people live lives of quiet desperation because they are trying to escape the work. They are trying to find the shortcut. They are trying to find the beach where they can do nothing. But doing nothing is death. Purpose is found in the burden. You have found your burden. Pick it up, carry it. Tomorrow morning, the alarm will go off. You will be tired. You will have $1 million in the bank, or a perfect body, or a best-selling book. And your brain will whisper, "You don't need to get up today. You've done enough." That is the test. That is the landlord coming to collect the rent. You have a choice. You can roll over and sleep and let the decay begin. Or you can get up, put your feet on the cold floor, and pay the rent. That's the key. The payment never stops. But neither does the glory. The glory isn't in the trophy. The glory is in the morning. The glory is in the moment you choose the hard path when the easy path is right there. You are a machine now. You are a weapon. You are a builder. Do not look for the exit. There is no exit. There is only the next task. There is only the next rep. There is only the next level. The doctrine of do the work is not a book you read once. It is a code you live by forever. So take a deep breath. Look at what you have built. Appreciate it for 1 second. And then, get back to work. We are done with the chapters. The lessons are complete. The structure is built. But before you turn this off, before you return to the silence of your life, I have one final thing to say to you, a closing command to seal the pact.
You have listened for hours. You have nodded your head. You have agreed with the logic. But understand this. Listening to this book is not doing the work. Agreeing with me changes nothing. Feeling motivated is not an accomplishment. Right now, you are standing at the edge of the void. You have 2 choices. You can go back to the noise, tell your friends you found a great new audiobook, and feel good about yourself for a day. Or you can shut this off, put your phone in another room, sit down, and execute. Do not tell anyone you are starting. Do not post a quote from this book. Do not seek a pat on the back for waking up. Kill the ego. Murder the noise. Embrace the silence. The time for learning is over. The time for earning begins now. Do the work.